Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk Easy English. I'm really happy you're here today. If you're listening to this, there's a good chance that you already understand English pretty well. You can watch YouTube videos, follow conversations, maybe even think a little in English. But when it comes to speaking, something happens. You freeze, you feel shy, you hesitate. You want to say something, but your brain suddenly goes blank. You think, what if I say it wrong? You start worrying about your accent, your grammar, the other person's reaction, and before you know it, you say nothing. Today, we're going to talk about the real reason why that happens, why you sound shy when you speak English, even though you understand it perfectly, and more importantly, how to change that. Let's start with something simple. Think about how you speak your native language. When you talk with your friends or family, you don't plan what you're going to say. You just talk. You make mistakes, you laugh, you fix yourself, and you keep going. You don't even think about grammar. That's because when you speak your own language, you feel safe. You know the words. You know the culture. You know that people won't judge you if you make a mistake. But when it comes to English, everything changes. Suddenly it feels like the whole world is watching you. You're afraid of being judged, of sounding funny, of being misunderstood. That's where the shyness begins. And here's the thing. Most English learners don't realize that shyness in English is not about language skills. It's about fear. It's about the emotional side of speaking. Let me explain. When you learn English, you're not just learning words and grammar. You're learning how to express yourself in a new identity. Every language gives you a new personality. Maybe in your native language, you're confident, funny, outgoing. But in English, you feel quiet, shy, almost like a different person. That's normal. It happens to almost everyone. But why? Why does English make you feel smaller? It's because your brain is comparing. You're comparing yourself to native speakers, to fluent YouTubers, to perfect accents. You think, I wish I could sound like them. And that comparison kills your confidence. You start focusing on what you can't do instead of what you can. When you think like that, your brain activates what's called a language anxiety mode. It's a kind of stress reaction. You stop thinking freely. Your tongue feels heavy. You start translating in your head instead of speaking naturally. So, the real reason you sound shy in English is not that you're bad at English. It's that you're afraid of judgment. You're afraid of mistakes. You're afraid of how you sound. But here's the truth. Nobody cares about your mistakes as much as you think. Native speakers make mistakes too. They just don't care, and that's why they sound confident. Confidence doesn't come from speaking perfectly. It comes from being comfortable with imperfection. When you accept that your English doesn't need to be perfect, you start speaking more. And when you speak more, you automatically get better. That's the secret cycle. Let's talk about something that happens a lot. You try to speak English with someone and they answer you too fast. You panic, right? You feel like you don't belong in that conversation. That's not because your English is bad. It's because your confidence filter blocks your brain from processing words quickly. When you're nervous, your listening speed drops. Your focus shifts from what are they saying to can I respond correctly? And that's when you freeze. To fix this, you need to train your brain, not just with grammar and vocabulary, but with real-life comfort. You have to get used to hearing yourself speak English. That's something most learners never do. Here's what I mean. You can't expect to sound confident if you never hear your own English voice. You might think your accent is bad, but maybe it's actually fine. You just never gave yourself a chance to hear it clearly and accept it. So one of the most powerful things you can do is record yourself speaking. Talk about your day, explain something, describe what you're seeing. Don't worry about mistakes. Then listen to it. You'll start to notice patterns. Maybe you speak too fast. Maybe you pause too much. That awareness builds control, and control builds confidence. Let's go deeper. A lot of learners believe that if they study more, their shyness will disappear. But that's not true. You can know 10,000 English words and still feel shy, because shyness is emotional, not educational. You don't overcome shyness by studying more. You overcome it by using what you already know, over and over again, until your brain stops treating English as something scary. Imagine a person who learned how to swim by reading books about swimming. They can know every move, how to breathe, how to float, how to kick. But the moment they touch the water, they panic. Why? Because knowledge without experience is not confidence. It's the same with English. If you never practice in real situations, your brain keeps sending the same danger signal every time you open your mouth. You can only break that by repetition. Speak even if you're scared. That's how fear loses its power. Let me tell you something personal. When I first started speaking in English, I also felt shy. I thought my pronunciation was weird. I compared myself to others. Sometimes I even avoided conversations. But then I realized people aren't focusing on my accent. They're focusing on what I'm saying. And when you focus on your message, not your mistakes, everything changes. Another reason you sound shy in English is because you think too much about grammar. You try to build a perfect sentence before you speak. But native speakers don't do that. They speak, and grammar follows naturally. When you overthink grammar, your speaking becomes robotic. You pause too long. You lose rhythm. English has a rhythm, and that rhythm comes only when you stop trying to sound perfect. Here's a small trick before you speak. Take a deep breath and start slow. Don't rush. Speaking English is not a race. When you slow down, you sound more confident and clear. Now, let's talk about your accent. Many learners feel shy because of their accent. They think it sounds wrong. But accents are not mistakes. They're proof that you're multilingual. Think about it. If someone speaks your language with an accent, do you laugh at them? Probably not. You just understand and move on. That's how people see your accent too. There's nothing wrong with having an accent. What matters is clarity, not perfection. Your accent only becomes a problem when you believe it's a problem. Try this mindset instead of saying, "My accent is bad." Say, "My accent is part of my identity," because it is. The moment you accept your voice, your shyness will start to fade. Now, I want to talk about something powerful: environment. Your environment affects your confidence more than you think. If you're surrounded by people who laugh at mistakes or switch languages when you try to speak, your brain learns that English is dangerous. But if you create a small English-friendly space, maybe a group chat, an online friend, even a mirror practice, your confidence grows naturally. So stop waiting for a safe environment. Create one. Let's imagine this every day. You talk to yourself in English for 5 minutes. You describe what you did today or what you plan to do tomorrow. At first, it feels strange, but after a week, it feels normal. After a month, it feels comfortable. That's how real fluency starts, not from perfection, but from practice. Here's another thing. Most people think confidence comes after they become fluent, but it's actually the other way around. Confidence comes first, then fluency follows. If you wait until you're ready, you'll never start. But if you start speaking, even imperfectly, your brain learns faster. Let's be real. English is not just a language. It's a skill, a tool, a bridge to connect with the world. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So next time you feel shy, remember this. You're not a bad speaker, you're just an unpracticed one. Shyness is a sign that you care, not that you're weak. Let's say that again. Shyness means you care about doing well. That's a good thing. You just need to turn that care into action. Here's a small challenge for you today. Say one thing in English out loud. Just one sentence. Maybe to yourself, maybe to someone else. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you speak. And when you do, don't correct yourself. Don't judge yourself. Just speak. Every time you do that, your brain gets more comfortable, and little by little, your shy English voice will start to disappear. Because confidence is not built in one day. It's built every time you choose to speak, even when you're scared. So next time you think, "I sound shy," I want you to remember this. You're not shy. You're growing. You're learning to express yourself in a new language. And every single word you say brings you closer to fluency. You're not behind. You're on your way. Keep going, keep speaking, keep believing that your English voice matters, because it does. Thanks for listening to Talk Easy English. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who also feels shy speaking English. You never know who might need it today. And remember, fluency doesn't start when you stop making mistakes. It starts when you stop being afraid to make them. See you in the next episode.